USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
So welcome to the show. We have a guest today, Sanders Offner, a dynamic leader in the HR and payroll space who serves as president of Crescent and Impact HR, with a career rooted in making HR and payroll more accessible, efficient, and impactful for small to mid-sized businesses. Sanders brings a unique blend of operational expertise, strategic thinking, and people-focused leadership. At Crescent, Sanders and his team have built a reputation for simplifying complex HR and payroll challenges through hands-on service and tailored solutions. Under his leadership, the company partners with clients to deliver fully managed HR services, including payroll, administration, compliance, benefits, recruiting, and beyond, essentially functioning as a full extension of a company's internal HR team. Sanders is continuing his mission to empower companies by ensuring they have the tools, guidance, and support to manage people and processes effectively. His commitments to providing white glove service, staying ahead of compliance changes, and building trust with every client makes him a powerful voice in the payroll and HR consulting space. Today, we'll dive into the evolving world of HR outsourcing, why payroll accuracy is make or break it for businesses, and how Sanders and his team help companies align people operations with their long-term goals. Welcome to the show, Sanders.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Our pleasure. Our pleasure. So as always, we get into the origin story, right? How did you get here? Can you walk us through how Crescent and Impact HR came to be?
Sure. I got into the payroll space really right out of college. I worked for a large national company called ADP.
Some of us might know about it.
Most of us. And so, I had a little under 10-year stint there in sales and in leadership. And, I say that ADP really helped me cut my teeth in the business. And in 2011, I just saw an opportunity to provide a more streamlined, a white glove customer service to clients instead of a 1-800 number or, a robot that you talk to through the internet. And especially down here in the South, people like talking to each other. So, I started this business in the closet of my house in May of 2011 and really never looked back on the mission. It is, no different today, 13, 14 years later, still making sure that every client is taken care of. They feel not like a transaction, but they feel like a partner. And, it's been a fun run.
It's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Could you share what one of the biggest lessons that you may have learned since launching and scaling this people first business?
Yes. I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is you're a fool to think you can do it on your own. You got to be able to surround yourself with great people, especially in the areas that you may be a little deficient in. And as you continue to grow and scale, make sure that your people are taken care of. I always say this, my number one asset is my employees.
Absolutely.
So I've trained our sales teams to go on calls and we'll tell a prospect like, hey, look, just so you know, our employees are number one. And then our clients are number two. Let me explain that to you. And once you tell a prospect that we take care of our employees, we invest in their training, we make sure that they feel happy and engaged, because each time that phone rings and they pick up the phone to help you, they're going to be excited to do that. And that really has resonated really with, our small clients all the way up to our large enterprise clients.
I love that. There's a saying out there, right? You take care of your people and your people take care of your business.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. So you handle end-to-end HR, but payroll is a critical piece. In your experience, how does payroll impact HR goals like retention, trust, culture?
Sure. So, when you look at HR, there's really two categories of HR. There's compliance and then there's strategy. So compliance is making sure that your handbook is in working order.
Yep.
You have great job descriptions, all your policies. The strategy side of things is how do you get to be able to attract the top talent and also keep it. So in the vein of HR, you got to make sure that you're constantly focused around people. And some of the ways that technology on the payroll front helps deploy some of those initiatives, whether it's through, electronic documentation, a really good onboarding. Nowadays you got to have a very good technical onboarding because that's your first impression to your new employee on how they're going to be treated within the company.
Yep.
And the technology nowadays, especially on the human capital management, really helps drive that onboarding experience. But without good strategy and compliance on the HR side, you can't build that on the front.
Absolutely. Could you speak to some of the most common pain points companies bring to you and how you help solve them?
Yes. Specific to HR is, hey, I'm struggling with employee retention. Why are employees leaving my company for an extra $2,000 salary? So one of the things we'll help dive in that, and work with them on is, okay, let's take a look at your benefits packages. What makes you unique? What are you describing to a new employee in the interview process that really makes them excited to come work for you? And then furthermore, how do you attract that good employee? So you've got to have a good recruitment tool too.
Yep.
So I would say finding good employees and retaining them is probably 1 and 2. And if you can help a company do those things, everything else really falls in line. Doing payroll for a company is, anybody can do payroll. It's not unique to my business, right? But it's how positioning the technology for payroll that makes the biggest difference.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Man, well said. I love it. So many companies hesitate to outsource HR or payroll due to fear of losing control. How do you build that trust and reassure your clients they're gaining more than they're giving up?
Well, we immerse ourselves in the business. So what we do when we first engage with a client is we go in and we do stakeholder interviews and we do employee interviews. So we want to get a gauge on what the ownership, what the leadership of the company is thinking about the company and the employees. And then we want to make sure that what the employees think is in line with what leadership thinks. And if it's not, that's where we kind of dig in and say, look, we've got to get your culture in a good spot before we can do anything else. And here are some ways to be able to do that. And that's performance reviews, 360 reviews, anonymous surveys. And then we take all of that and we present it back to leadership in our summary or findings. And then we recommend, here is what we would do in conjunction with working with your staff. So it's not like we come in and just take over HR. This is definitely a partnership approach because we've got to have leadership management bought into it if we're going to be able to deploy it and execute it properly.
I love that. Yeah.
You're saying a lot of great stuff, Sanders, because I think a lot of companies are more so about people that provide HR services. They're seeing that they're more so about getting the sale versus actually taking care of people. So I'm fascinated by what you're offering because it really seems dynamic.
Yeah. So, and when we started the Impact HR, which is a division of Crescent, we wanted to look at HR proactive, because if you think about how HR's today, it's very reactive. Employee has an issue, HR jumps in. We wanted to make sure, can we address all of those things on the front end so that when there's an issue, when there's a complaint, when there's a problem within the business, there's already a process and procedure to attack that issue and be able to resolve it before it becomes a lawsuit or an EEOC claim.
Yep.
And believe me, we save countless dollars for our clients avoiding lawsuit, whether it's for sexual harassment or discrimination.
Amazing.
Just making sure that we're doing things proactively with them.
I I had a friend, and that's a very good point. I had a friend recently. I was talking to him about payroll and HR. He's like, it's kind of like insurance, right? And I was like, yeah, kind of. You right. It's a proactive approach so that you don't get caught up in things and you're ready ahead of the problem. I love that. I really like the way that you kind of the strategy of bringing in the stakeholders in because we know like most big vendors they just write to HR and if you don't bring your stakeholders in as the HR department they don't care they're just like well whatever you need here they're not actively they don't care right they just make the sale let's get it done go ahead and use the product and that's it so I really like that approach because as we continue to go we always talk about in the show as we continue to grow on down this AI path that well what are we going to do when AI takes over then what's left is those soft skills or what we've learned rebranding recently power skills and that's what's important right it's going to be that connection that talking that relationship and the strategy the proactive strategy in addition to that man I love it
Right.
uh
You brought a good point. I do think at some point AI is gonna have a big impact in this industry. I don't know if it's gonna be next year, 5 years, 10 years from now, but at some point
exactly
it's gonna happen.
Yep.
Where we're trying to be proactive on that front is to your point, you mentioned soft skills,
hmm
where a lot of the young leadership struggles with is how to have those crucial conversations.
Yep.
So part of our HR strategy is doing leadership trainings. So we'll come in and our HR advisors will do trainings on crucial conversations, conflict management, things that we know are going to come up because you have to still be able to have a conversation
that's
with a
right
person. You can't just, chat GBT the issue.
nope no you I mean look it gets you through a couple of you know the beginning of it but as it escalates you got to talk and you got to have a conversation and you're absolutely right man you fit right in on the show Sanders because we talk about crucial conversations all the time
Yep.
and how to and being more proactive and not being reactive how do we do that better I love it so now let's switch the gears a little bit compliance and risk mitigation the HR and compliance landscape is constantly shifting how do you guys stay on top of it evolving the one big bad bill that I call it now.
Yes.
How do you guys stay on top of it?
What we do is we basically just kind of educate ourselves and look, it's every day something new is out there. And we do a good job of communicating with the public and with our clients around, hey, here's what's coming. Here's what to anticipate. Here's what to expect. Obviously we're here if you need us. The big, beautiful bill it's going to throw a couple wrinkles in the payroll
yeah.
spectrum, whether it's, no taxes on tips and
Mhm.
all that fun stuff. So what typically business owners too is they just tend to freak out like, oh no, what do I do?
Yep.
So we just kind of ease it up for them a little bit and make sure that, hey, we'll take care of you. And if you're not using our services, here's some tips that you can use to handle it yourself as well.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great. That's great. Can you explain how you blend your technology with human service to provide that white glove experience?
Sure. So if you think about just paper in general, anytime there's an addendum to a policy, anytime there's a change within the organization, historically it gets pushed out by paper. Hey, sign this, we'll put it in your employee record. We're trying to go paperless with everything.
Yep.
So that's how we become the back end HR and payroll department for our clients is that we'll store everything. It'll be SOC compliant, making sure that every little bit and piece of information or form that needs to be signed goes through the technology. It's electronically signed by the employee, and then they have a record of it as well.
So you provide them a file, a record of it to keep as well?
Absolutely.
That's really good because I talk about that all the time with payroll providers, because we get so complacent about, it's in the system, it's saved there. And yeah, but do you have it saved on your company drive? Because if you choose to, go to a new system, how are you going to put it all out?
Yeah.
Not that it's impossible. It's just going to take a hell of a amount of time. The companies, you got to pay somebody at that point to help, like, That's really progressive. I love that, man. Wow.
You can't, I think it's naive for businesses to not at least keep a copy of it on their
Exactly.
own hard drive, because, historically, a business is going to change their payroll provider every 5 to 7 years. So it's
Mhm.
inevitable, right?
Yep.
Now, look, we would love to keep a client forever.
Of course.
It's just the industry. But yeah, no, we tell them, like, look, yes, we'll store it for you and you'll be able to have access to it even if you go somewhere else, but you're better off keeping a copy of it as well.
That's absolutely right.
Amazing.
I've not heard that. That's awesome.
Yeah, first time.
So as your clients grow, how does your service evolve with them, especially when you're like crossing thresholds, that 50, 100 mark?
Hey, it's Paris. I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
So we have different layers on our service team. So, we've got small business specialists, one employee to 50. And then we've got, more of a mid tier, and then we've got enterprise. So we watch that as
wow.
as they grow. But one of the things that's important is we give a residual to our sales reps, which is uncommon in the payroll space. And the reason why I chose to do that is because I want my sales reps to continue to invest back in their clients, making sure that they're happy, pulling referrals, pulling testimonials. And one of the ways they do that is when they do a 6-month visit, they're going to go in the system and say, okay, they've grown from 40 employees to 60. That's jumped the threshold with HR. What else can we help them with? And then we go back in and we do an analysis and see what areas of the technology we can add, or with layers of our HR service that we can provide to them to help them with, ACA or whatever it may be once they hit that 50 mark.
Wow. I'm loving, like, you make me want to come work for you.
Yeah, for real.
Smells like an amazing company. So can you go into how you coach clients to think about payroll or HR, not just as a transaction, but as a reflection of how they value their employees?
Yes. Especially the workforce nowadays, it's a younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for something that's tech heavy. They're looking for a service that they can access from their phone or from their tablet. So we're preaching to businesses that may be, they may be a little, late in the game, going electronic or going paperless or outsourcing their payroll in general. We're telling them, like, hey, look, at some point, your employees are going to be of a generation where if you don't have the ability to go onto your website and apply for a job electronically, they're going to X out and move on to something else.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we're, second, third generation businesses that have older leadership. We're having to build in an ROI. Like, hey, here's what it's going to do for your business if you're able to attract this talent and keep it, versus cycling through employees.
Oh God.
Here's what it's going to cost you from finding a new employee and training them. And that's when their eyes open up, like, you're right, we need to do it.
Let me ask you, do you have a percentage on what it costs to hire a new employee? We're going to fact check or just gauge what we've learned.
In my professional opinion, I think it's 1.5 times the salary.
1.5 times. Okay.
Because it's the salary, and then it's the training that
Yep.
somebody's going to have to do, their time.
Yep.
And it's typically a figurehead or a management level employee. So yeah, I think it's 1.5 times whatever the salary is what the cost is to the employee.
Wow. And it's expensive. Yeah. You're speaking facts over here. Is it me or you next, Walt?
I can ask the next one.
All right.
What trends do you see shaping the future of HR and payroll consulting?
I do see that at some point, I believe AI will probably take over human resources, in a sense that I don't think companies are going to have to pay someone 150 grand to manage their HR processes. I think there'll be a blend of a $50,000-$60,000 salary with great AI to be able to handle that. So I think there'll be some savings for the employer down the road. But that person is still going to have to be responsible for effective communication with the employees and making sure that the AI is doing all the right things to be able to attract and retain the talent as well. So I think AI is going to take over more of human resources first. And then at some point, I mean, you're already seeing it in the HCM technologies where AI is embedded into it. And I think where that's helping payroll admins now is that it's allowing them to do their job quicker, to move on to a task that may be revenue generating.
Yes.
Is the amount of time that they're having to spend on payroll.
That's right.
So yeah, I think HR, I feel bad for HR professionals. And, I think that I think that's going to be the first thing to be cut is those high priced salaried HR professionals.
I agree, but I feel like, cause it's just like payroll, right? My prediction is that big payroll teams will get cut, but there'll be a payroll pilot, right? And in comparison, there'll be an HR pilot. I feel like that salary is going to be a little bit more than maybe what you're saying, because maybe a small company, but like as maybe the bigger the companies, the bigger the salary would be. Because now it's one person doing the function of a few with the AI. They got to be well trained. You know what I mean? They got to know, right? So I feel like there's going to be a big range there, and that person, because now it's not just the 150. Again, it instead of a team of 4, it might be 1 or 2 with AI, 1.5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
You're
agree,
right.
but there's some play there. But yeah, no, it's definitely right, and it's like you said, we just don't know when it's coming, because it's, it. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Paychecks, though, I just heard now I don't know if it's an article or an inside story. I feel like because we consume so much information. Apparently, Paychecks has AI, and it was kind of an inside story, but I don't know who the source is, so I'm not breaking any news here. But they're having trouble because they're like, Paychex's AI is making payroll entries for them, and it's wreaking havoc in the batches. So we're not there yet. Like, I mean, because right, like that's got to be, you can't just jump out with this stuff.
Well, think about just the risk of liability on a payroll. If AI is in there processing payroll, making payroll errors, tax errors, and now all of a sudden the IRS is talking to the business, because the IRS doesn't care if Paychex is doing your payroll.
Nope.
Right?
That's right.
They won't have to
AI.
So who assumes liability there, right?
That's right.
That's gonna be a tough one to number one insure. And it'll be interesting to see how the big boys, the Paychexes and the ADPs, because typically the trend has always been like, whatever they do, everybody else kind of falls in line there.
We can't do that anymore, though. Like, right? We need you're clearly, that, and you built your company not doing what they do, and God bless you, and you've been successful for it, because that's how we have to continue to, like, somebody's got to be progressive now. Somebody's got to break out of that, and it's tough though, because ADP process, I think it's like IRS processes 1 out of every $4 that goes through the IRS comes from ADP. So it's crazy, the amount. And I always say, like, they're too big to fail. And, I have younger folks dealing with it, and they're like, well, why don't they change this? And I'm like, well, they're going to be blockbuster if they don't actually start to change it. But who cares, right? I'd like the younger progressive companies like yourself and services that are kind of paving that new way. And speaking of innovations in the future, is there anything exciting on the roadmap that you're allowed to share from Crescent or Impact?
Yeah, I think we're never going to be the jack of all trades. So I'm never going to offer 401k or health insurance or any of that.
No, that's a good thing.
But I do think there is a demand for managed payroll, especially with companies that are looking to downshift the amount of payroll people that are in their payroll department or HR department. So they're asking more of us, when I say more of us, like, hey, can you onboard my new employees for me? Can you enter their information? If they have an issue, can they call you? I think
Oh yeah.
I think that is a component of our business that we'll see an uptick on. And it's the margins are great. I
Oh
think,
yeah.
our service speaks for itself. So I think it's a good product that we can excel with.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
You said manage payroll. Can you define what that means as opposed to traditional payroll or?
Sure. So imagine, in a typical business, you've got a payroll admin that's really doing all the blocking and tackling. They're taking the new hire information, they're plugging it in. An employee changes their address, they need it changed. We will become that for them. So
Right.
instead of them having to worry
Yes.
about a person that is
Yes.
employed at that company, will do it. So
Yep.
keep in mind, that employee gets sick, goes on vacation, who's going to
Oh
handle it?
yeah.
So
Oh
now
yeah.
they've got a massive team behind them that we can handle all of that for them. And
Yep.
some of these clients, a lot of the information is personal to them, especially the smaller businesses.
Oh yeah.
Owners, depending on how their entities are set up, are getting paid through payroll. They don't want people seeing what they make, so
That's
they'll
right.
let us handle that on the managed payroll side.
Oh gosh, I remember years ago we had a CEO that didn't want the HR person to have the HR data.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
they can't do their job without the data. Like, you know. Oh man, Sanders, amazing conversation. On top of where can businesses find out more about you? Is there anything that else you want to share? Anything we missed that you would like to share?
No, look, I think if if a business is listening to this and they're tired of working with a national company with, no relationship, no one really to have their back when there's an issue, we're a great option for that. If they're looking for a change, our technology is great, our people are great. We've got I think a 98% client retention rate. Our NPS scores have been in the 90s for the
Wow.
last 10 years. We're very much a service-based organization led by great people. Our core focus is growing a reliable business with passionate people.
Oh,
And
love
we're
it.
always going to continue to do that.
I love it.
Strong inspirational.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can tell you right now, you are definitely at the top of the list for me as far as payroll providers, and because you've nailed every single question, and I'm really happy to have you on the show and share with our payroll pros, and
Yeah.
a lot of us are we want to empower our payroll folks to be the one that has the answer when their leader says, "What do I do about payroll? Where do we get help from?" I got somebody. Right?
Yeah.
I got a company that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well, I
and
appreciate y'all having me. And
oh, we love it. Look,
Yeah.
our Payroll pros love it. We're we've we've been around for a while and we're big in this space. Very niche, of course, right? But got ranked as one of the best payroll shows in the world,
it's great.
and we're really happy to provide a platform for us. Anytime you guys want to come back and feed us news, you're doing something like press releases, let us know. We
Yep.
talk right when you got on, we were talking about, payroll in the news type of thing. So we love to keep our payroll folks up to date because again, it's like, how do payroll people stay in touch? This is how they listen, they learn, it be intentional. Just like you said, they educate ourselves, and that's the best payroll pro is you
Okay.
educate yourself, you go get it yourself.
Well, look, I'd love to come back on whenever you want to have me. I think the ideas are always flowing in my head on ways to be successful, especially in this business. And look, I love mentoring, new and upcoming independent payroll owners too.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Since, in the grand scheme of things, we are a small community.
Yep, that's right.
And so helping each other out is important because we're always fighting the Goliaths out there.
Yes.
Yes.
It's tough sometimes.
But
Yeah.
not a lot of folks feel that way. So I appreciate that. And Walt and I have been, we're always doing research, and we like, wait a minute, there are more businesses under that 500 mark than there are above it in the States. And like, oh, there's a lot of room there for us. So I appreciate that. And I think our payroll pros appreciate it. Before we let you go, we'd like to do a little game called This or That. Just fun, just to get to know you beyond the payroll piece. And
Sure.
you can say both, neither, either or, whatever you like. Well, you want to get them started?
Yeah. So we have 6 for you. I'm going to start with first 3. So would you rather go on a beachfront vacation or go to a cabin in the mountains?
Beachfront vacation.
All right. All right. So do you prefer a good TV show or a good
Both.
Oh,
okay.
right.
All right. And then the last one I have is, do you prefer hiking or swimming?
I prefer swimming.
All right. Text or email?
Email. I'm bucking the
Pizza?
trend.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Pizza or tacos?
Oh, pizza. All the way.
Yeah, I know it, man. I've been craving some pizza. Last one. Excel or Google Sheet? Tough
I'm
one.
gonna go with Google Sheets.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
I haven't made the transition. Walt loves Google Sheet. I can't.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still stuck on
It'll
Excel.
It'll change your life.
Yeah, we use Google to manage our business. Like and it's fine. I do love the tool, but like I get stuck when it's like doesn't do the thing I wanted to do that I know Excel can do. Now I got to learn how to do it. That's where I get stuck. Again, Sanders, thank you so much for joining. Love to kind of stay in touch. Feed us, send us info. We'd like to community
If you
here.
don't mind, I think I have your email, but
Yeah,
give me an email with both of your
Absolutely.
contact information, and I'll certainly keep y'all up to date. If I see something in the industry that's unique or new or upcoming or something
love
that's gonna, be a wrecking ball, then
oh yeah,
I'll let you know, and then hopefully I can come back on.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Open door.
absolutely.
Before we end it with the quote of the day. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, come more, you are a leader. John Quincy Adams.
Great quote.
Or just gave me some chills.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. So until the next time, folks, go ahead and look for Crescent HR. Is there a website that folks can go to?
Yes, it's crescent-hr.com.
Amazing. I am really a big fan, and no disrespect to any of the other companies we've had on here, but some of them stand above the rest, and you definitely do, Sanders.
I
So
appreciate
thanks for
that.
coming on. Absolutely. And engage, subscribe, and do all the things, folks. Tell a friend, share it with friends. Until the next time, we love you.
All right. Take care. Have a great night.